And we're live. How you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing pretty good, Dan. How about?
Doing all right. Can't complain too much. This will be the first time we're actually going to record not in person together.
Yeah, but I still feel close to you.
So, if there is any technical difficulties, we're sorry. We're trying to make it work this time. Mark and I just don't have time to get to each other this week.
Yeah, it's been a busy week for both of us, work-related.
Yes. But let's go over what let's go over like the last couple weeks, Mark. So we had 2 case events back-to-back weekends. We did our tournament reports on them, but let's dive in a little bit deeper. Let's go back to some of the stuff we had predicted. What decks were sitting on top after the first 2 weekends?
So after the first 2 weekends in the top 4 at the Adventurers Guild, that was Metroplex, Classic Dinobots, the Starscream deck, our Starscream deck, and then the bug deck, copy straight from the article on VectorSigma.info.
Yeah.
And then you have the lists from Top Deck. Is that correct?
Yes, and then so there we ended up with Sentinels, Bugs again, Aerial Bots, and a double Grimlock deck. So the reason I have these characters on screen right now for you guys is because through the first 2 weeks, these have been the dominant decks. We have 1 Sentinels, 1 Aerial Bots in top 4. We have 2 Grimlock decks for past 2 weeks. We have 2 Bugs decks past 2 weeks, and we have 1 Starscream deck. And I don't have a Metroplex on camera because it would take up too much space. Sorry, Vince.
Too big.
So the cool thing about Bugs is that we've had 30 players through 2 tournaments. 2 players have played Bugs, and both of them have made top 4.
Yep.
I don't know what that says about the deck, other than it's pretty good.
Not only does it say that it's still viable, I think it's also a lot of people don't want to play it. They're sick of it. You know, they're sick of seeing this through all the wave 1, and now they're like, oh, we got all these new toys. And this happens in every card game when a new set comes out. Everybody wants to play with your new toys, and they forget about the boogeyman, and sometimes they just get slaughtered. And that's what Bugs does.
Yeah, so, like, you know, you talked about it a little bit last week because you played Bugs at Top Deck. What exactly did you play against again? If you can remember.
Let me see. I played against Classic Dinos. I played against Scott playing Aerial Bots. I played against the other Aerial Bots player. I played against the Thrust Blur Glass Cannon combo deck. And I drew in the last round of Swiss with the Sentinels player, the Gradelock player, who was not combining. And then in top 8, I played against Cars with New Bumblebee. So I only played against 2 blue decks, and both of them were Aerial Bots. The rest of the decks were orange decks, and they have characters than me, and their damage output is lower, so clearly I was favored in all of those. And the Aerial Bots matchup was not very good on my draw. My match against Scott, I was not able to push enough damage, and then the other Aerial Bots player, I was able to win one of my games due to a misplay on his part and math on my part in the 3rd game.
Yeah. So that's a pretty wide variety of decks that you played against, and you were still able to go 3-1-1 and then win in the top 8. Now you mentioned that you played Cars against the top 8, and how different is that match with the new Bumblebee?
For Bugs or for Cars?
Well, for Bugs, from your standpoint.
For me, I think it's not even like a matchup I'm scared of anymore. You used to not want to play against SRB
because you couldn't protect your guys.
He just could ignore Scrapnel. He could kill a guy before he attacked. now they have to run into Scrapnel. They have to do all that stuff. So now I don't actually care. It's just another orange deck you play against. Even though they get to untap a guy, doesn't matter. They have to waste their first attack on Scrapnel anyway. So it's like you get 5 attack. And even if they have 1 on tap effect, they still have 4 attacks to your 5.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. How about we why don't we talk about like some of the decks that surprised us? I know like going in after day 1 for us for testing, you know, we weren't really on combiners at all. But they've showed up the last couple weeks, and they've showed up in numbers. A lot of people have been playing them, but there have been some successes also. What are you surprised most by combiners at this point?
I'm not really sure what I'm actually surprised about. Other than that so many people are actually playing a tournament, it's not just a local thing. I'm kind of surprised at the power level of Sentinels, despite them not having to combine. Some do, some don't.
Yeah. We've seen them both ways at this point. The one that succeeded though did not have enigmas in his deck, so you know maybe that's just a secret in itself. You know, maybe you just don't need enigmas with those guys.
Yeah, I mean it's also kind of so a third of the field at the Adventurers Guild played. There were combiners in a third of the field, and at Top Deck it was half of the field.
Yeah.
So that's a lot more combiner teams than I thought people were going to play, honestly.
Yeah, I mean there was 5 aerial bot decks at Top Deck. So I mean 5 of them were at Top Deck. 2 of them I think made top 8, and then Scott made top 4. So that speaks volumes about Serperion. I mean, like I think through a couple weeks we've had there were no aerial bots week 1 at our first event, and then second week there was 5 of them out of nowhere. So I don't know if
it's also a different location too.
Yeah, it's true. It could be a different location. It could just be more time playing with the combiners and finding out which ones are which, you know. Which are strong, which are weak, you know.
So I think all those aerial bots were blue based at Top Deck.
Yeah.
So they were all blue based, and the only orange based decks were the Sentinel decks, and like we said, one of them didn't even combine. So while they have combiners in their list, they're not a combiner deck. Yeah. You don't have the Enigma, you're not a combiner deck.
Yeah. So like there were quote unquote 9 combiners at the event, but realistically it was like 8.5, you know.
And one of them was Dreadwing.
Yeah, and even that.
So that doesn't technically.
Yeah, so that could even be lower, and that Dreadwing also didn't do very well either.
Yes.
So what about our predictions from our week 1, our day 1 testing? We discussed a couple characters that we thought were gonna show up big. Which ones did? Which ones didn't?
Well, I think our predictions actually we thought that Optimus Prime, Battlefield Legend, would still carry the torch as the best character, most played character, and he hasn't shown up even in a top 8, let alone a top 4.
Yeah.
I think he's only shown up by 3 players across 2 events.
3 players out of 30 in 2 events, and none of them have a winning record.
Yeah.
We've seen him with Bumblebee. The new Bumblebee. We've seen that as a 2 wide. We've seen a 3 wide.
We saw the old school.
Yeah.
All Hell Optimus lineup.
We saw the old All Hell Optimus lineup, and then we also saw one with Ironhide instead of Flame War. And just none of those have done well enough to really talk about them at all. Why do you think that, Mark?
So I'm not sure if it's, once again, it goes back to the Insecticon quote unquote problem. People just want to play new stuff, and I think the majority of people that I saw playing Battlefield Legend were guys I haven't seen playing before. So it could just be that they were new and they like Optimus Prime. Maybe they didn't have a list, or they don't follow tournaments as closely. Some of the lists just seemed like, guys built them on their own, didn't really do a lot of research, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they didn't have nearly the amount of reps in with the decks that we put into it, changing it every week from event to event to event. So I think that has something to do with it. I know you have some thoughts as to why he's not necessarily showing up right now.
So I'm hoping by the time this goes live, my article has already gone live on Optimus Prime. But
Shameless plug, VectorSigma.info.
VectorSigma.info, yeah. Link will be in the description if it is there. If not, it'll just be on the lookout for it. But I think it has a lot to do with just the meta evolving itself. I think towards the end of Wave 1, it took a couple months for Optimus to really come into play. And then once he was in play, and once he had the right deck list and the right ideas, like, you just kept evolving your deck list to fit your meta. The problem right now is that, through 2 weeks, we haven't really had a staple meta at all yet. It's been a lot of different decks between week to week. So building the correct deck is just going to be really, really tough. So I think he just needs time to develop so you can accurately choose your 40-card battle deck.
Yeah, and we aren't even really set on...
No, I mean, that's the other thing is, like, literally, next week, Devastator's coming out. Even if this is coming out, it might even be coming out the day that Devastator deck list comes out. So even at that you're just adding more cards to the fire, you're adding a hold or combiner, you're just adding so many more things that it's probably just going to take him some time to really, really adapt to what the current meta is.
Yeah, I think he's one of those characters that, yes, you can always play him. Yes, he's going to be strong. But if you don't have your deck built to address the problems that are going on or the threats that you're going to be facing, he's not as potent of a character as some, say, like Bugs or Orange Sentinels. You can never be doing the wrong amounts of damage. You can, however, be defending incorrectly or having your battle deck set up to answer things incorrectly. If you're just pushing a bunch of damage, that really can't steer you the wrong way.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I don't know. Like I said, hopefully you'll get a full article on this, and there's a lot more that I had to say about it in general, and also a couple deck list ideas for him where I was currently in the meta and stuff like that. How about other than that?
How do you actually feel about that? Are you happy? Are you depressed about his lack thereof?
So I still think he's the best character in the game.
100%.
Print it stat for stat, I think he's without a doubt still the best. So like I guess I'm just happy. It's kind of hard because like I'm happy that like he's not half of a tournament, obviously. But what I could also argue is that he might not be just because of what you said. Like, everyone's just playing the newest toy, so no one's really giving him, the real chance or, maybe the real time that he deserves to create the best deck list for him. So it's tough to say. I think it's good for the game in general that, like, Optimus Prime isn't running rampant on all these tournaments, just because he was so dominant the last couple months of Wave 1. But I just have a feeling that he's definitely far from gone. Like, he's going to be back as soon as the meta settles down and probably when you least expect it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're guilty of that too. We kind of built an Optimus deck that was just like ported in with new cards on day one, and it didn't work out, and we just kind of didn't really look at it. We're like, hey, let's try Windblade. Let's build this Starscream deck. Let's see what combiners are cool. Let's try all this new stuff. And we didn't, after we had that first like failure rate, we didn't really go back and revisit it.
I think I'm the only one on the team that really has. Like, I've been actively playing it, on the side for the last couple of weeks to just try and get it to where it needed to be. But even I still haven't. I just felt like I haven't got it there. It just needs way more time.
Yeah, and I know we talk about it a lot. We're trying to play it with some star cards, not star cards,
Yeah.
Are we trying to like just not play armor at all? Are we trying to max out on console?
It's just
all
like
sorts
I said,
of stuff like that.
The meta is just so all over that it's so hard to put those 40 cards together.
Well, I mean, you can play more than 40, Dan.
No, you can't. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. You cannot play more than 40 cards. Don't do it.
All right.
Ever.
All right.
So what about us? What about our other prediction? What about battle cards? What battle cards have we somewhat hit on or missed?
So we both agreed that Mining Pick would be the most played card. I still think it's the best battle card. I don't think everybody else thinks that.
Sure.
But most of the heavy orange decks, except for those Sentinel decks, they don't even play it.
Yeah.
Which I think is wrong, but I think that card is going to pick up this weekend. After Devastator comes, that card paired with Work Overtime is a match made in heaven. You just are dealing like 7 damage. You don't care about the cards being out of your hand. You're just going to play Work Overtime. You're going to draw 4. You're going to pick for another 6 damage. You don't care then. I think now people are too worried about the cards in their hand for it to matter.
Yeah, I agree. How about some cards that have, like, in my opinion, kind of changed the meta a little bit. I mean, we kind of predicted a little bit, but maybe not as strong. But like, so your green cards like Bashing Shield and Espionage. Espionage it's being found in more and more decks, but I still think a lot of people are only playing it as like a one of. Where I think
they just have a flex spot and they're like, well, it's white and I can get it.
Yeah, I think most of us at this point have gone to at least 2.
At least 2 default, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just so strong in every concept of every way you can think of it. Like, either A, you're just like, hey, I'm gonna name this card. I'm gonna name the color of a pip of the card that's gonna hurt me the most next turn, so I need to get rid of it now. So like, just say you're just like, well, I probably just lose to grenade launcher, so you just name orange. If they don't have a grenade launcher, that means they have to draw it off the top to beat you. But if they do have it, you get to rip it. Chances are you're gonna get a card no matter what, you know. And then it's the same thing with combiners. Like, you know, you see them get their Enigma. You're just like, well, I'm going to name green. I'm going to set you back X turns until you get another Enigma. And stuff like that. The card is just really, really came out, you know, the last couple weeks. It's insane.
And I also don't even think not everybody has gotten to see its power level with the Sentinels and Mirage.
Yeah.
You are able to strip so many cards from their hand, as well as making an informed decision when you make it, as opposed to just an educated guess, or you're like, well, I know he has got it back, and it's not really the card I want, but I want to be able to take a card. With Mirage, you're able to do that. If you go second with Sentinels, you can take 2 cards on your first turn.
Yeah.
You can Mirage, take an action if they have one, and then you can Espionage the other card that they have in their hand, and they haven't even played a card yet.
Exactly.
So they're starting with 2 cards. They draw for their turn 3 cards. It's possible that they can't even play 2 cards for their second turn.
It's possible, yeah. It's pretty strong.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you only start the game with 3 cards. So, you know, if you have an awkward hand where it's like, you know, I got 1 weapon and 2 actions, like, Sentinels can literally just obliterate you.
Right. Or if you're at ramming speed or something.
Yeah.
Security checkpoint, you don't have anything proactive to do, you just leave those cards in their hand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very, very true. So what about any other surprises? Like anything in the last couple weeks that like has really maybe caught you off guard that you weren't ready for?
I was like just cards or decks?
Just in general, you know.
I probably didn't give Blue Sentinels enough respect.
Blue Sentinels?
Aerial bots. I'm sorry, Superion.
Okay.
Yeah, Blue Sentinels is whatever. But the blue aerial bots, it gets incredibly tough, pun intended, to deal with some of their guys. And that stupid little brave guy is so annoying.
He's pretty
There's
good.
some really, yeah, there's some pretty cool things you can do. If they Inferno, they can attack with first. You have to waste your attack on the tough guy. The next turn, if they Inferno Breath, their brave guy, what's his name? Fireflight?
Getting him out now.
I think he's the brave one.
Skydive is your tough one.
And I think Fireflight is the brave one.
Fireflight is your brave one, yeah.
Yeah, so like if they Inferno Breath, tapping that guy, he's not going to deal any damage when, but he does 3 off breath. You get to attack with someone else, and then your opponent has to attack the brave guy after they wasted their first turn attacking the tough guy that you said. They're able to spread. Their ability to control combat is only rivaled by the Cars deck, except they don't need to draw an action to control the combat step.
Yeah.
Just being 5 wide and doing the way their characters are set up, they can just do it. You also basically can't one-shot anybody if you go first because you have to attack the brave guy. They're a heavy blue deck. You have to be dealing at least 10, and that's without any cards. So the only decks that can actually do that with any sort of consistency are the Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend decks, which are just non-existent right now. We just haven't seen them.
I mean, and even in those decks, them on the play, it's still pretty tough, to get to a number that's, secure,
Yep.
Because, let's say we get the leap. So if you get the leap, you get to 11. So
Yep.
effectively, the brave guy has 9 health to start. So if he only flips 2 single blues, then cool, you get to kill him. But if he goes blue, double blue, or blue, white, blue, blue, and then now you're just well, now I have to waste another action on that guy,
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and then you're exposed. Granted, you're probably a blue deck, and those guys don't hit very.
Yeah, I don't think that's as big of a problem. As opposed to where if in bugs when Optimus Prime attacks kickback and fails, you just basically lose. That's not the same case here because your Optimus isn't going to take much damage anyway.
Right.
So that's tough.
But yeah, that is definitely a deck that I did not give enough respect to.
Yeah, I buy that. I tell you what, who I'm actually a little bit surprised by, even though we did hype him up. I'm actually fairly surprised by Starscream.
Why is that?
Because when we started talking about him, we started piecing the deck together. I thought it would be more of a fun deck than anything, just a fun Voltron deck, and just be able to just 18 people, inconsistently. But after playing the deck through a tournament and playing the deck, more afterwards, the deck's fairly consistent. And with the latest updated version from your article on VectorSigma.info, with the secret dealings and stuff like that, you gave yourself more options to get Crown on top, so you're not completely reliant on pick. And with the 5 rollout / escape route, being able to constantly get your playing cards back, the deck became pretty consistent, and I was actually really shocked about how strong it could be.
I also think it gets even better with the Devastator set.
Yeah, Reclaim.
Yeah.
Reclaim's gonna be really good for that deck. Yeah. Just in general, it's basically, for me, Reclaim is gonna be the 6th or 7th rollout or escape route.
Right, I'll agree with that. So it's also one of those things that, you don't have to use a flip. You get to flip somewhere else.
Yeah, so those awkward turns where
they don't want to flip anywhere else, but
yeah, I mean maybe there's no, I don't know. I guess that really wouldn't work out on that aspect, because I was thinking oh, maybe there's this awkward turn where you flip with Barrage just to get them in another mode or something like that,
I mean, the awkward turns will be after one of your characters dies and you don't have access to all 3.
Yeah,
where you have to set up a turn where you need to get a plan card back as your actual flip.
Yeah.
And it's not crown, or it gets espionage or checkpointed out of your hand. You wasted your flip to get it back out.
Yeah.
And then you can reclaim it back on top, flip, attack, and then it's green, so you can get it back into your hand and continue going on.
Well, it's also pretty good on those like weird turns where like you have multiple crowns in the graveyard. You know?
Yeah, if you flip 2 of them or something on an attack.
So now you just have a way to just put that back on top easily, you know? So like when you need to go for 18, you're just like, well, it's in my graveyard. I'll just reclaim it on top and then pick the other one and move on.
I mean, also, you know, it's not great, but you do have the option guaranteeing an orange pip on the top of your deck. After Starscream's dead, you can put a mining pick on top or a grenade launcher if you need to guarantee a damage from barrage or drag strip if they're left if Starscream's dead.
Yeah.
Like, so you're just trading your action into a +1 attack.
Yeah.
That's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, but even like the secondary, you know, like with the arm hovercraft, you know, with him, with that and barrage, like just the little subtle things in the deck that add it all up, and even like the distribution on orange and blue, so you can proc drag strip. You know, there's just the deck really came together a lot better than I thought it was going to.
We also put a lot of work into it.
We did. That's
so. And I
fair.
think that could have been our downfalls too. We found a character we really liked, another 13-star character we liked.
Yeah.
We put a lot of work into it, and that's kind of why the deck list ended up where it did.
Yeah.
And we kind of left a bunch of other things go by the wayside and just didn't test it because we were working on that deck.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. We're playing catch up on everything else now.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Reclaim and Devastator, what impact do you really think the Devastator deck's going to have on Wave 2 currently?
I think the only thing that's really going to matter are the battle cards. And it's only going to be 2 of the 5. It's going to be Reclaim and Work Overtime. Yeah. And I imagine it's going to be like an 80-20 split. 80% of your decks are going to play Work Overtime. 20% will play Reclaim. And I don't believe the 2 will be in the same deck together. Unless it's the Devastator deck.
Yeah.
So Work Overtime is just a great card that helps mining pick decks. It helps heavy orange decks. I don't think it's very good against inside blue heavy shells unless you're able to get stuff with good flip density like Megatron, common Megatron from Wave 1 where you can kill a bunch of upgrades, or Dark Mount because you're always discarding cards to get their effect. And that was also kind of part of the problem in Wave 1. You ran out of cards to fuel those flip effects. Not to mention those guys were not very great or beefy. So they kind of failed on 2 fronts, whereas now with Work Overtime, I think one of those fronts is strengthened. We'll just have to see if their survivability is going to...
Yeah. No, I can get that. I mean, I'll be intrigued to see how Devastator as a combiner does. I think, I think with heavy landing, basically that and Inferno Breath and...
But you can't play Inferno Breath.
Why?
You have to tap a guy with 5 stars.
Oh, and they're all 5 or less. Oh, okay.
Well, the one guy.
The one is
guy
not.
That puts counters.
All right, so it won't be as good then.
Right.
All right, that's fine. So I was thinking you could get away with playing both and have all these like just tapping deal 3 damage effects while just getting there, you know?
Yep.
So I guess if not, but just the overall the deck, like I'm wondering if the blue shell that Aerial Bots uses could mostly be just pitched over to this just to get your guys to stay alive long enough to get where you need to be. And then, just his built-in combine effect when he heals, I think it's going to be really, really strong.
Right, and I think that's the only reason if he does succeed is because he can heal.
Yeah.
Because I think regardless of if he's in an off shell which I think is where he needs to be.
It could be possible.
If he's in a blue shell, the guys are still so squishy, they're just gonna die. So I would imagine you want your guys to do some damage on their way out. And then when he combines, you basically get to heal off 2 dead guys worth of damage, and then continue to do a bunch of heavy lifting.
Yeah, it's possible. It's hard to tell right now without seeing it at all. But speaking of seeing it, Showcase Games, Comics and Games, on the 30th, which is the day after Devastator will be released, will be legal for that tournament.
Yes.
So it's very possible we see a Devastator deck there.
I'm banking at least 2, maybe 3.
Depending on how many people are there, yeah, I could see that.
I'm pretty sure that we have some teammates that have a hard-on for Devastator, and I think they're going to play him.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then I'll definitely be intrigued to see how much work overtime, really comes out for other decks. And
how much work it actually does.
Yeah, exactly, and where it fits in, and even Reclaim. I'll be excited to see if Reclaim can find more than just one home.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to put it it's tough for me to figure out where else that goes.
So the thing that I like about it, obviously I like it with Starscream.
Yeah.
I like it in the specialist decks. You can reclaim an upgrade and then field communicate it.
Okay, I could see that.
That's the only thing that I can. If you can get your Windblade to work, you can reclaim one of your double pipped upgrades and then flip Windblade and play it.
Yeah, there's not too many of those to get around.
That
with,
are good.
but...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There is the ability for that card to be good.
Yeah, anything that regrows something from the graveyard or something from the scrap pile is going to be good enough for sure. It's just a matter of if it's going to be good enough right now or if it's going to be good in 3-4 months from now.
Right, and I obviously as more sets come out, more double pip cards get printed, so that obviously makes Windblade better.
Yeah.
We're going to get more double pip card upgrades, so that will make Reclaim better.
Yeah.
Different weapons, field communicator. I think that's basically the shells where that card is going to be seen outside of Devastator, because with Devastator, you're just basically getting the card back to your hand because you get to put it on top and draw a card.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
You have, I think 6 tower counters.
Yeah,
or height counters.
I don't have the card in front of me, obviously, but
right.
it'll be on screen.
Counters, and then you get to put it on top and draw. So you get to basically put it from their scrap pile into your, essentially.
Yeah.
But that's only with Devastator.
Yeah. So
and it's only upgrades. It's not actions.
Yes, it's not actions for those of you that don't know, like me.
Or can't read.
Or can't read, like me. We can't all be winners. It's okay. Other than Showcase, a couple weeks after that, we're going to have Top Deck again. Top Deck Games in Collingwood, New Jersey on the 20th of April. That's going to be another case event as it's labeled right now. And that will have at least a couple weeks of Devastator out to really, fine out the deck and see if people want to bring that with them. We'll see.
And
how
I think
goes.
that's currently the only localized event that's scheduled for April for us right now.
Yeah, for us right now, that's it.
Right now.
Also, just a shout out, PAX is also the weekend of the 30th and 31st. So hopefully we can get some maybe some just cool decks out of PAX. I don't expect too much because it is a video game convention, but if Pastimes is holding events, it'll be cool to hear what did well.
Yeah, and any information is better than no information.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
something for us to look at. So
yeah, I like to look at stuff.
Speaking of competition, let's discuss a little bit about the level of competition and the do's and don'ts of the difference of level. So you had a bit of a something happened in one of your matches at Top Deck this week. Why don't we go over that a little bit?
All right, so I think it was round 4 against my non-Scott Aerial Bots opponent. We are coming down to the last two characters. I had an undamaged barrage and a chop shop with 3 damage on it. He combines, when Superion combines, he gets to deal 3 damage to a character.
Yeah.
So he chose to put 3 damage on chop shop. And I believe that he played an upgrade and then went to attack barrage. And then wanted to change his damage target to barrage so he could guarantee the kill on barrage. I was like, no, you can't do that. We've already come this far. He was visibly upset about it. I said, well, I'm sorry that you made a misplay, which is what it was. It was a mistake, and sometimes that's how you have to learn. So he attacked barrage. Barrage lived with 1 health. I drew Peace Through Tyranny, and then was able to sacrifice barrage and kill Superion with 2 attacks from Chop Shop. So, had he just shot the barrage, I would not have won that game or the match. So, I mean, he was visibly upset. I don't know if he was... I mean, he clearly was upset with me because I wouldn't let him take his play back. But I don't know what he was expecting. If he was expecting me to do that, because there's not a specified organized play level rules. My take on it is, we paid $30 to play in this. There's a decent payout here. I'm going to hold you accountable for action. It also wasn't, a casual game. We were actually playing for something. So I'm sorry that the mistake was made, but that's not on me. So,
yeah. So I think that, even if we just look at like our current levels of play through like our events, like for me personally in Philadelphia, there's no local game stores doing anything for this game. You have a couple, that get together on weekends or something like that. And then we have like Showcase, which I'll put on the next tier, where it's just a $20 buy-in. Everybody gets packs for playing, and it's store credit payout. And then we have the top deck, and also the guild event that were case events. So for me, our top level events would be the case events in the current in our current status of OP. And I think what you did, in my opinion, is it's valid. It's the highest tier event that we could be playing in, and it's not really casual at all at that point when you're talking about playing for a case, which even if we just go at a random price of say $350 of winnings, you paid $30 to get in this event, and yeah, it sucks when your opponent makes a misplay, and a couple things happen in between him realizing that. So then he wants to change his mind, and it's tough. It's very tough to be like, no, yeah, you can just change your mind. Especially when you have what's at stake. Now, like, if that were at, just Sunday local game store, we're just messing around in a $5 tournament, I'd probably let that play go every time.
Sure. Now, honestly, it happened at some other events. Because then you can't do this and that, and you maybe try and help out a little bit, and they're like, oh, yeah, that actually is better. I'm going to do this. But yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, now you killed my guy. See, that's why you should have done that. You can use it as kind of like a teaching tool.
Yeah.
But that's not what we were doing at Top Deck.
Yeah.
We weren't teaching. We were competing at the Top Deck.
Yeah. I think at the guild, even a couple weeks ago at the guild, you actually kind of had a moment like that. Now, granted, at the guild, you weren't 3-0 at the time, so it's definitely a different situation there also.
Yes.
But, you helped your opponent, combine correctly, so he was able to end up winning the match over you.
Right, yeah, so he played the Enigma and then was, oh my god, my guys aren't all flipped. This doesn't do anything. I was like, well, just flip your guy and then play the...
Yeah, exactly.
So, I had started off 0-2, so I was like, well, this doesn't really matter. Yeah. Let's help this guy get better. Let's sequence things better. I'm out of the running for top 4, so it didn't matter to me at that point. But I was staying to hang out, play, have fun. Yeah. You guys were all there, so that's what we were doing, and that's a different scenario to me.
Yeah, so like I think it's very, very dependent on what kind of tournament you're in, you know, to decide this thing. And like I said, like if I'm at, you know, if we're just playing a game, you know, after the event or even before the event, and you're just looking for help, then yeah, I'm gonna make sure you get your help every single time. But once the clock starts on that round, you know, it's not easy just to let people just take things back when they realize they make mistakes.
Right, and I mean, I'm probably more lenient than most, especially with people that I know.
Yeah.
You know, even team members, I would expect the guys on the team to hold me accountable for a mistake or a decision that I made, and I'm going to hold them accountable for one that they make.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no hard feelings. That sometimes tough love to learn, and that's the only way you can learn. You remember your bad beats and mistakes that you made when you are not forgiven.
Exactly.
When it actually costs you something.
Yeah. I agree.
Now, also, when we're just testing.
Yeah, testing is like the ultimate.
Right.
It's the ultimate, like, no, like,
back.
Yeah, you like, everything you do is like a take back, you know? You're like, because you
Right.
need to know immediately, like there's no reason to like play through a whole game after that one mistake and go, man, I wish we would have done it differently. Like, no, like, if you realize you made a mistake, you should immediately go back and take it, because like, that's what testing is for.
Right, and that's where you learn proper sequencing, or it's like, oh, if we sequence it this way, I get to see, you know, an additional card, or I don't waste the card I put on top of the transmissions. To me, when you test, the goal isn't to win.
No.
The goal is actually to lose and see why you lost or how you mis-sequenced or things like that. Because if you win, you just kind of don't really go back and reflect on anything. You're just like, man, I'm just the greatest. Yeah, look at this. This deck's awesome. You go to an event and you're like, oh, man, I just got bodied because I didn't do this, or my opponent did this incorrectly when I played before, but this guy did it right, and now I get crushed.
Yeah, like you need to, for me, it's always just about learning as much as you possibly can from every game you get. You know, and especially for, you know, us, like we don't have an incredible amount of time to test. You know, most of the time we're testing like before an event or after an event, or like randomly. Yeah, because I'm saying like literally like, or randomly, like if we can get a day that we can just get together and test, but even those are incredibly few and far between. So like every mistake made during a testing needs to be pointed out by both players, just to help the person you're testing with get better, help yourself get better, and help give everyone better results.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if it's just a stigmata that everybody has. You know, it may come across as crass or elitist when you're like, hey, why'd you do this? This isn't right. Yeah, maybe it's coming across that way, but I actively want to help people get better at the game. I want the level of competition to rise.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
the better my opponents are, that forces me to be better, and that's what I strive for, to do the best that I can at the game that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, it's like that with everything. You know, you grow lazy if the competition doesn't grow. You know, and like, you know, we're constantly pushing each other, obviously. You know, it's more of like a sportsmanship between us, you know, currently, but we don't want it to be that way. We want it to be where, you know, everyone can be on that playing field, everyone can get better, everyone can get on that learning curve. And that's half the reason we put out the articles we do, we put out the decks we do, we put out the deck list and the videos, because like we want everyone to get to that point where, you know, I saw them do this, and not only do I want you to ask why, but like I want you to know why at the end of the day. And like I don't ever want it to be like, oh, he did that and he just must have had a reason to it. Like, no, if we're doing that and if we're explaining it in a verse video or something like that, we're doing it because we want everyone to truly understand why we're doing it.
I also want to be challenged as to why we are doing something else. It's like, well, why are you doing this? This is success with that. Because regardless, you know, other people have done other things. And then when I explain my reasoning, that either solidifies it for myself, or it makes me rethink a strategy or sequencing that I had done and thought was, you know, the way you're supposed to always do it. And somebody else comes up with something that I hadn't thought of because I have always had success with a certain set of sequencing and playing cards.
Yeah.
You know, that that has happened a few times with certain characters or certain cards or advocating different cards or different play techniques.
Well,
So, I mean, there's always something you can learn every action, even if you're just re-solidifying your beliefs about the card and why you played this for this, or why this is better than, a different action.
Well, I think it's even as important now with the release of Wave 2 and how we're a couple weeks in. At the end of the day, there's double the amount of battle cards. There's double the amount of characters. So, people challenging why we're playing certain cards, that's great, because it does exactly what you said. It either makes me think, okay, why would I play that card? And then B, why am I playing the card that I'm playing? So I can correctly answer and give people, really what the information that they're looking for as a whole.
Right, and I think it also us to be honest with well, why'd you do that? You should have. You're right. I made that mistake. That play is better. I will remember that for the future. And I welcome that kind of criticism about our play or anything else or idea we may hold. I welcome it, but
yeah,
not everybody else shares that.
At the end of the day, we're learning just as much, we do it every day, I'll just make fun of Vince for a second. Vince will post 100 million deck lists in our threads every day, and half the time it's just us making fun of him. But at the end of the day, he's still challenging the team to think on his level and to think, all right, well, could we make this work? How do we make this work?
Right, and I think the way that we kind of do everything, someone brings an idea to the table and everybody tries to tear it down.
Exactly.
And you have to defend your idea.
Yeah.
It's a lot more difficult to defend your idea against 4 and 5 guys than it is one other person.
Yeah.
And I think if that defense holds up, then we have found something, or we found an intricacy that we didn't notice before.
And even if the one guy feels like he lost, he's still going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But that also just can segue right into teams. That's why you need a team for these types of games, because you need more than one person to bounce an idea off of. You need different types of opinions in the room to get everything you possibly could out of what you're looking for.
Yeah, and we all have areas better. Whenever it's a blue deck, I'm like, what you guys are doing? Ask Scott or ask Dan. I don't know how to build these control decks. And then I'm just like, well, you just play a bunch of orange cards. And we all have kind of what we're good at or defending things. So there is that.
There's a master plan behind all of it.
We're not playing in 6 cards, Dan. We're not doing it.
That's fair. All right. So speaking of fun, let's talk about Showcase and what we're going to do for fun at Showcase.
Oh, man. I hope it's fun.
I mean, it could suck.
Nah. It's not possible.
All right.
So, what we are trying to do as a team, we don't know if everybody's going to be involved. It's going to be up to them.
Scott's going to party poop it. I already know it.
Probably. So what we're going to do is we're going to start 7, 8 decks. We haven't decided yet. Fully constructed, deck list in the box. If you have made top 4 with a specific deck that's within the pool, you are not eligible to play it again.
For example, you can't play Bugs, I can't play Starscream, Scott cannot play Aerial Bots.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to use a randomization method. Probably to die. We haven't figured out all the logistics to pick our deck. I think what we're going to do is we're going to roll a die, 2 dice. You're going to get 2 decks, and you get to pick from one of those decks. Or if you don't like either of those decks, you can roll a third one, but then you have to play the deck that third one hits.
Yes.
And we're going to live stream it.
Yeah. May as well.
So we don't know what we're going to play until half an hour before the event.
Yep. That's fine.
So I know you and I are definitely.
Yeah, I'm game. I don't see. There's no reason not to. I'm game.
I mean, there's plenty of reasons not to.
Well, at the end of the day, it's still learning, you know, whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, I mean, we're going to have tried and true decks in there. We're probably going to throw in 2 or 3 brews, too.
Yeah.
That'll have no tournament experience, so...
No, there'll be a Windblade deck.
Some people will call that a whammy.
There'll be a Windblade deck, for sure.
There will be. There might be a Venom deck.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I don't want to play it, probably. I don't know, maybe I do. Maybe I don't, but I want to see someone play it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It'll be tough. I mean, it'll be fun. You know, once again, that's the 30th. So that's next Saturday, or this coming Saturday, depending on when we're hearing this. And I like that idea a lot. I think for a tournament like that, I think it's great because, you know, we all at the end of the day need to expand ourselves anyway. You know, like we all can't just constantly fall in the same shell. Like to get better, you need to be able to play different types of decks efficiently. You know.
Yep, you got to stretch your player range.
Yeah. So I'm totally comfortable playing whatever deck is gonna be presented to me at that day. Most likely, I would do this like even like playing video games. I use the same rules as the rolling that we always do. It's always like, all right, roll the first one. All right, I don't want to play that guy. Roll the second one. Oh, I don't want to play that guy. I always go almost all the time for the third one. Like just let it die, and that's what I'm gonna be. So that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing anyway. Spoilers.
Okay.
Just because I think it's more fun that way. But who knows? Maybe I'll roll the die first and I'll get something that I wanted to play anyway and say screw it. Who knows?
You know, or it's like, well, you know, I have these 2 choices that we know are good. Maybe you'll hit Bugs and Sentinels, and you're like, I kind of want something different than those. We know what these decks do, and you roll, and who knows what you get.
Yeah.
You know, it could be one of those things.
So let's just like give a general idea. What do you think? What do you think we'll have in this gauntlet, as I'll call it for now?
I mean, we'll definitely have Starscream and Bugs in the gauntlet.
And aerial bots.
We'll have aerial bots in the gauntlet. We'll have a Windblade deck for sure.
Yeah.
Don't know the exact makeup of it.
I'm thinking Optimus Bumblebee.
All right, that's a good one. I'm working on... So, my other brew is going to Skywarp deck or a Venom deck. So, it'll probably only be 1 of 2 in the pool.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, they're going to be great.
I don't know how to respond to that, but all right.
And then, you know, the other one might just be Sentinels. It might be the double Grimlock deck, you know.
I think you'll see Sentinels double Grim also in there. Why not? You know, it just depends on how high we want to go. Really, it won't matter. It won't matter how many are really in there. You know, like we could have 10.
It depends how many teams.
Yeah, like if everyone decides that they're gonna do it, then we'll probably need more decks.
Nah, no, we probably don't. It's actually better if everybody tries to do it. That way, all the decks get used.
And then we just roll off, and the guy who's last just gets screwed, huh? Maybe.
Or he gets rewarded.
Maybe he gets rewarded. Yeah. Who knows?
It's like, man, I got a Bugs, and I'm like, man, this deck's good, but I just don't want to play it. You know, one of those types of things.
I think Scott going last, getting stuck on Bugs, would make me laugh.
That would make my day.
It might make my day, yeah.
That might be better than Nifty Diner.
No, it will not be better than Nifty 50s Diners. It will not be.
Listen, can you see Scott's face having to play Bugs?
Yeah, but
Right, that might be better than Breakfast.
I don't know.
Be.
We'll have to see.
I don't know. We'll have to have Nifty 50s beforehand.
Well, we will.
And he'll have to get Bugs if he doesn't party poop out. And then we'll be able to game.
Maybe we're putting him on the spot. Maybe he has to do it now.
Maybe.
I could see. I could see Vince being fine with it. I can definitely see Palmer being okay with it. I don't see Bixler complaining about it either. So.
No.
And whoever the hell else is part of this team, you know, who knows?
Whoever wants to get involved in.
Yeah, we could just have a giant roll off. Who cares?
We could.
D20 it up. Well, I think
maybe that's something when we have more cards, like wave through. We have a little more cards, we can build more decks.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think that's about it for us today, Mark. I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we did pretty well. You know, unless there's anything last you want to just chuck in there.
Not that I can think of, not off the top of my head.
Yeah. You know, like I said, I think it's been a good wave 2 so far. You know, I think the combiners have had a little bit of their time in the sun, and that's fun. I think Bugs is still doing bug stuff. And then, you know, where's Optimus? That's really where I'm at right now.
I also don't think combiners are going away.
No, I don't think so. I mean, especially because they're getting another one.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, but I still see people wanting to actively play them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's people are just hoping everyone else is gentleman's agreement and just, hey, let's just play these fun decks. And I mean, that may be the case in, you know, some areas, or it may be more prevalent in some areas.
Well, I think that just comes back down to your level. You know, like when we went over the level of competition, I think, you know, I think at your local game stores on Wednesday night or Tuesday night, Thursday night, doesn't matter. I don't think you want people playing bugs, you know? Like, hey, we're just here to get together, have a good time, you know, for $5 and win a pack, you know? So, like, that's the best time to be playing whatever random fun deck, you know, Venom deck that you want to build or bring on Sunday, etc., you know?
Yeah.
And then I just think case events are just a little bit different of a level. I think, you know, if you're going to put $30 into an event, you should play one of the best decks you can possibly play and just hope that your breakers work out and hope that you don't get matched up against the deck that you're bad against, you know? Because I can say this.
That's what it is for any turn.
I can say this for sure. You know, we definitely haven't come up with a deck yet that's just good against everything. You know, it just doesn't exist right now. So, you know, even us, like, we're still rolling the die a bit, picking the deck that we're playing because, you know, we don't know what the meta is going to bring. You know, if we decided to play a deck that was bad against Orange Sentinels and then all of a sudden there's 4 Orange Sentinels decks there, then you get paired against 1 or 2 of them, you're going to probably have 1 or 2 losses. Yeah.
It's going to be a long day.
So that's just the metagame itself right now. If it's being so wide open, it's hard to predict exactly what people are going to play. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what Showcase brings. Like I said, I think for us, we're definitely going to have some fun at Showcase and just play what the die gives us. And that'll be a lot of fun to do.
I'm all about a little introduced.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's been fun.
It's controlled chaos.
It has been fun sitting down talking with you today, Mark.
Yeah,
and
as always.
We will talk to you next time, bud.
All right, have a good one, Dan.
Have a good day.